Thanks for joining us for episode 10, Candid Conversations. Bill, how is it going today? Or this evening, as we established last week.
Yes. Yeah, 3 hours ahead, 7:30 right now. It's actually going really good. Like we recorded and shared that we had a great time. Got a little toy, so to speak, that I'm planning on playing with, tonight actually. The sun's still out, so I might take advantage of that. But overall, it's pretty nice. Got a 3-day weekend ahead of me. Get a chance to finally relax. If I even can figure out what relaxing means. Work on the various projects I'm working on and just have a grand old nerdy time.
Nice. And you did end up seeing a movie last weekend with your nephews, right?
Yeah, my nephews. I don't think I even shared that with you. Did I share that with you at all?
We didn't talk about it on this show, but on one of your your business side. But what movie was it, and was it good? Because we had joked before. I was like, oh, it might be super woke, or just be like full of propaganda. Right. And I was like, be careful if you're taking your nephews to it, or have a good talking after of like, we don't believe any of this, or like, don't listen.
Yeah, well, we had to do a flip of a coin because one of my youngest nephew, he doesn't get out of the house. He doesn't even know how to get out of the house except for go play in the backyard. But so for the past years, I'd take my oldest nephew, and he's about 9 right now, 9 or 10, somewhere around there. He'd be my movie guy. And every time I go pick him up, I'd ask the youngest, Brecken's his name, Ryder's the oldest, so I asked Brecken, Brecken, you want to come with us, enjoy this movie? It's going to be fun. It's usually Marvel or some sort of related superhero movie. And so he's like, no, I'm just going to sit here and, play on my tablet. And he's a young kid, too. I think he's about 6 or 7. And so I could kind of understand that. But so I was really surprised to hear that he wanted to come to the movies with us. And I was like, okay. There's probably going to be a 10% chance that he's actually going to go. And I told my sister, I was like, hey, can I kidnap the boys for the day and, go see a movie? And like, yeah, sure. They got nothing going on. I was like, okay. So he actually did go with us. And Brecken, he wanted to see Ghostbusters. And Ryder me and Ryder both wanted to see both of them. I still got to check the budget, see if we can do Godzilla tomorrow. But he wanted to see Godzilla. We both wanted to see Godzilla and Ghostbusters. So we did a flip of a coin, see what it was. Ghostbusters won. I had a great time, but I was all like nervous about it because like in the original, there's like this library ghost lady, and actually, you know what? You're right, because I mentioned this part in it in our last recording. But so in the original, there's this librarian. She's dead. She's old, and she's reading a book. Bunch of noise and everything, chasing this ghost through this library, and then she looks over at one of the characters and just does this whole little hush tone finger thing. And then Ray was the character. Daniel, I don't remember. David something. He played one of the Bruce brothers. That's all I remember. He's staring at her in the original one like, wow, this is real. She's just reading a book. And next thing you know, she comes at him all scary, ghouly-like, and makes you flip out. If you've never seen it, don't even know what to expect. So I've been traumatized for that ever since I was a kid. Every time that comes on, close my eyes, I'm not going to watch it. Well, sure enough, she decided to make an appearance in this video, or this movie. Yeah. And sure enough, she decided to do the same thing to the very same character in the same type of scene in a library.
And on a giant screen.
On a giant screen. So all three of us, I completely forgot why I didn't like her, but I actually asked the lady at the counter at the movies. I was like, is this ghost going to be in there? Because I don't want to see her. And,
I wonder if other people ask that. I've never even thought to ask one of them.
Yeah.
Like, what was in one of the movies?
So, yeah, she said, yeah, there's this in there. It's kind of a throwback to the originals. It's like, oh, great. This is going to be fun. And, so we watched a movie, had a great time, and then that scene came on, and all three of us jumped. 34-year-old man, 10-year-old, and 9-year-old. And,
at least Bill Murray was not in it, right?
Actually, no, Bill Murray was.
Oh, he was? Oh,
yeah,
no. Because remember, last episode, for those watching, he was the one that you said if he could just not be in it.
Oh, yeah.
It would be better.
That. Yeah. Well, he didn't actually have as big of a part. He kind of came in late. He's like in the last 15 minutes or so.
Then we kill him, right? We kill him off. Slurp him up.
He's not dead yet. He's not dead yet. But the only one that's dead, I can't remember his name. Egon. Egon was the character. He was the tall, skinny one with the glasses. But he actually died before the last Ghostbuster came out.
In real life, the actor. Right?
Yeah, in real life, the actor. So they played it off as if they put him in there as in Ghostbusters Afterlife, I think is what it was called.
Oh,
and so he was kind of more or less one of the main characters in that, which was really cool. But yeah, we had a great time, had fun, and hopefully we can go see Godzilla and Kong or Godzilla X or whatever it's called. I don't know. All I know is Godzilla.
Same movie, they just have to rebrand it to keep their the
Yep.
copyright or whatever the version of that is. It's very Disney. We're remastering. Why? Oh, because after 20 or 25 years, they could potentially lose the right to public domain. It's like, nope, we're not doing that. We're going to remaster it, add a new character, add a new spin, extra features.
Right.
From myself, I despise Jumanji. Jumanji? Is that what it's called?
Really?
They came out with a remake recently, probably for the same exact reason why, but to me that was just like the scariest thing ever, getting sucked into a game, and then the monster, like there were so many monsters or just creepy things, and so even as an adult when the remake came out, I'm like, I'm not seeing that. Like I don't even go to see movies, and I'm like, I will never go to see that movie.
So the one with Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart, you haven't, and what's the other guys?
That was the recent one.
Yeah, Jack Black and Karen something or other. You haven't seen that one?
No.
Oh, that's good.
I don't think so. No.
You have to. The best part, Kevin Hart, it's good. That's all I got to say.
Is he actually funny?
He's actually funny, yeah.
Some of these, when they have funny characters, I'm like, oh man, he's going to try to be funny. I'm like, let's see, is he actually funny?
Yeah. Well, in the new one, like Jumanji apparently has, obviously based on the original, has a life of its own kind of thing, but it basically rebrands itself. Instead of being a board game, it does some magic voodoo, and it's now a video game, and that's where this new one takes place.
Okay.
So Kevin Hart's character, all the characters have strengths and weaknesses, but Kevin Hart's character, which is really makes his entire character worth it, is that his weakness is cake. And not because it's high in sugar and everything, but like he actually blows up or something when he eats cake.
Oh, weird.
So, but yeah, you gotta.
I think they've probably made it a lot less scary then, because as a kid,
back
then they can make things pretty creepy.
Yeah, well, in the original, the one that creeped me out was when they get sucked back into the game, and then you got that big old head popping out of the hunter guy. I was like, ugh. I was like, I know what's happening here, and I'm not gonna watch that again. So
yeah.
Okay.
Man, but moving on from here, I did want to touch on, because solar eclipse is a big thing that's happening. You are in Ohio, so I wanted to hear what is happening with that, and then I want to throw in, is this the end of the world? Because whilst this is happening, I've just seen so much of like the tin hat foil type people that are like, NASA's shooting 3 rockets into space, something called CERN's coming back, which I think is like an evil company. I don't know. And then today was the cicadas, trillions of cicadas are coming, like the locusts, like from the Bible coming. And then I also see on social media, there was an earthquake in maybe New York or New Jersey, somewhere on the East Coast. And we typically we have those in California. We don't have them on the East Coast. So I was like, oh, what does this mean? Bill, tell us, what does this mean?
Well, as the song goes, it's the end of the world as we know it. I would say that, I believe that concept, it's the end of the world as we know it, because that as we know it part is really goes for anything. Every single day is the end of the world as you know it, because there's something new that's coming. I wouldn't say this is like biblical apocalyptic, because bad things happen. Catastrophe. There we go. Catastrophes. They've been happening for thousands of years. I actually had somebody ask me, what's my thoughts on the whole eclipse thing, because apparently this one is going to be crossing, and I don't know, I haven't watched a lot of them by choice. It's like I'm not going to get sucked in the whole conspiracy stuff. But this one apparently is going to be going across like 7 different cities here in America that are named Nineveh, and it's going to be intersecting with a 2017 one
And X marks the spot, right?
X marks the spot, yeah, and with a city called Rapture. And I was like, okay, that's kind of fancy, kind of interesting. The Bible does make it clear to look to the moon, stars in the sky, of the comings. But I really don't think this is it. There's a whole...
Because it also says no one will know the time or day. So.
Exactly. And the fact that there's going to be a cross there, rapture, okay, we can calculate when the sun's going to be there. That's when it's going to happen. I don't think that's true. America is not in the Bible. So I don't believe that has anything to do with it. Now, could it be a divine sign from God saying, hey, you guys, you messed up, you need to repent? Absolutely.
My brother-in-law was saying, too, the Satanists have some weird stuff that goes with the eclipse. Because I asked him, I'm like, I don't know, but I'm just hearing, clips, and I'm like, I'm not interested enough to, fully jump down the rabbit hole with all of these, but I'm like, I'm hearing enough of something. And so he had just mentioned that as another thing to throw in. I'm like, yeah, the Satanists do a lot of creepy, weird stuff around these eclipses too. I'm like,
much like they do with Halloween. I wouldn't necessarily think, I don't think it's really anything to worry about. Because I looked it up, I had a conversation last week, I think is what it was. In fact, actually, I can get you that little short snippet because I don't really talk to a lot of people. Yeah, they were asking, what are your thoughts here? And this is a little small quote that I came across on Google. It says, according to Google, there are 224 solar eclipses within the 21st century. Of these, 68 are total solar eclipses, much like we're going to be having in a few days. 73, which I don't even know what these differences are, an annular solar eclipse, and 7 are hybrids of a total and annular solar eclipse, and 77 are partial solar eclipses. So, is this a sign of the end times? No, because we have over 300, maybe 400 eclipses that have happened within the 21st century. So, and that's just the 2000s, because the 21st century is from the year 2000 onward. So the past 24 years, we've had over 300. So I don't think it's a sign. I think it's maybe a message to repent, but I don't think it's the end of the world here. I don't think it's even anything to worry about. Hurricanes we get all the time. Earthquakes are common. And the big thing that really scares people, I think, is they see just general events happening. But with, when it comes to the book of Revelation, these things are going to be so great and catastrophic that it's going to be completely unthinkable compared to what we personally know. So, I'm not taking it, all these little conspiracy theories seriously. But if it happens, it happens. I mean, it's it's not really anything you can stop because it's already been prophesied. It's going to happen. It's what are you going to do? So
yeah, and I was telling Bill, for you guys, the last tail end of his podcast that we were recording, there were helicopters flying around my neighborhood like crazy, so I kept muting, unmuting, muting. So I'm just adds to the craziness of what is happening. I don't know, probably nothing, but yeah.
It's what's that movie called? Left Behind. You ever seen that? The old one.
It was a big thing when I was younger.
Yeah, Kirk Cameron, and Kirk Cameron's one of the main characters, but yeah, the very first movie starts off helicopters and everything coming across. I'm what's going on? So
I think something recent happened where I heard people were calling their church to make sure they were still there, to make sure they weren't left behind. I don't remember what it was, but I'd seen that
look that up.
A bunch of old people calling. They're like, "Don't worry, we are still here. The pastor's still here." So I think that's the fear with most people. They're like, "What if?"
Right. My mom was saying, Lady Franny, that's the only one missing from the church. What happened to her? Oh my gosh, she's the only one.
My mom was saying we should create a little booklet because we have all these animals. We've got 6 chickens, 2 outdoor cats, an indoor cat, a dog. Now it's just who will take care of that? It's I don't think we're gonna be worried about that,
right?
But one of those boxes. Here's the Bible, where you need to read, and then here's how you take care of all of our animals.
Right? Yeah.
Please and thank you.
P.S. Don't forget.
But from here, Bill, what have you been working on since we last talked? Because I know you've got some cool things coming up.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember what all I shared with him in our last connection get together recording, whatever we want to call these. But Romans was a course that I was working on finishing up. I did finish it, and I'll probably critique. Yeah, really good. Creators critique. I'm not 100% happy with it. So, but also at the same time, I think it did cover what I wanted to cover. It wasn't a whole hardcore, in-depth study of every possible thing you can find in the Book of Romans, but the idea itself was an overview of the gospel, as well as doctrines that can be found in that book. So I think I did cover that, but I don't know. We'll wait for the audience to sign up for it and give some feedback before we can kind of tweak anything. But the learning platform is almost done. There is, if I recall, because I don't have a list, I just stare at it and be like, oh yes, I got to do that too. But I think setting up the payment gateway is one of the only things as of now that I need to take care of, and then we're completely. Actually, I need to work on adjust the domain too. But other than that, it is good to go. And now I'm going to slow down a little bit, go back and tweak one of my other courses. The only other course that's currently available. Tweak that a little bit, and then slowly dive into creating a new course. So that's what I've been doing. Fun time, exciting time, and another thing I can check off the list. But wait, there's more.
Yeah, and maybe briefly talk about what did you have as your previous website? Why did you choose a new platform? And it sounds like you're merging them into one. Like you're just going to have one now, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting for people listening of like, maybe even they went to your website and they're like, well, I can take a course on that website, so why do you need a new one?
Yeah, well, I was using WordPress originally for the learning platform, and we could have easily taken care of all of it through WordPress. However, one of the things that I wasn't too happy about, and part of it probably is my computer. My computer's kind of getting out of date, so that might be where the bug is coming from. It's been very difficult for me to nail down, but when I write up blog articles, I can only write up like one paragraph before it starts to lag. So...
And you like to write and talk a lot, so
yeah.
You're never just going to write one paragraph.
Yeah, and if it gets too long for some reason, it like locks up. So I don't know if that's like my GPU, my graphics card and all that, if all that stuff's getting out of date or whatever's going on. But I was like, you know what? That's one of the reasons why I want to switch, because this is going to be up to date, more reliable, Lord willing. But also some security things. I've had over in the past, I've had some, because it's all kind of a low budget project, I haven't been able to afford like state of the art security for it. And so we've had some people, some fake profiles that were created and trying to do some stuff. So I've had to pay X amount of money for somebody to actually clean that out. And so to avoid that, I decided to originally was to have the main website, which we have right now, be just information and links and no sign-ups, no payments of any kind taken care of through there to help to combat that. But as I was working on developing the learning platform, which was originally going to be a second website, I was realizing that a lot of the features that it has is stuff that is already on the original website. So I was like, okay, instead of paying for two of these, which quite honestly I would like to, because I've got a couple different things in mind as far as what I want to do. But so to save some money, just focus on the one because it's got everything. And this learning platform, once I update it or upgrade to the next tier of subscription, which hopefully at the end of the month I'll be doing, it'll unlock. One of the things I'm really looking forward to is a blog feature. So I haven't been doing much blog writing because of the technical issues with the original website. And so hopefully that we can upgrade and I can get back into that. So, and there's a lot of other features this upgrade will provide, but just some additional things. So, yeah, we're switching to that because for that particular reason. Who knows? Maybe in another year or two, it's like, okay, well, we need our website back. Let's get a second one. But
yeah, and when I was creating the new one, I was gonna do one on a more limited one and then send them to a WordPress one, and then eventually I was like, man, literally every link is going to take them somewhere else. So that was kind of my thought process of like, I loved the idea of this, but in all actuality, like it makes more sense to throw them in one spot and then figure out from there, like, what can I do? Like this week I was working on a shop, like a store, but I'm calling it shop. And that's something I am. So like the WordPress is the main site for Fisher Philbrick. And then like to apply, because you need to pay higher levels for like plugins to do like an email for and sign, like really lame stuff where I'm like, for $19 a year, I've got a card account and they can do that. No problem. So for those like applying for the podcast, the shop, all of that, they have like Stripe widgets. So I can set up my Stripe and just have them pay directly through there instead of paying for like a storefront package through WordPress or, you know, like whatever the next thing, $30 a month. I'm like, my first product is free. So I'm like, even if I was optimistic that I could sell $30 or more, I'm like, I'm not going to.
Right.
But that's what I worked on this week, was figuring out, I think for me, once I find a good template that I like, then it's fun. Because then I just need to put in like all the writing, which I don't mind doing. But it's like a process of like, add some, look at it again tomorrow, find all the mistakes, or like, this looks bad. Why does it look bad? And then move stuff around, save it, go back, look on mobile versus, I think, and I've mentioned this before, like I just try to look on everything mobile because all of my target people that I'm going to come after, they're going to be on their phones. Like yours, they would probably start on their phone, but if they're going to take a course, most likely it'll probably be with their desktop. So it's just like a difference for those listening of like, where are your people coming from? How are they first going to find you? And then where are they going to do the bulk of their work? And then helps decide like what you should be focusing on.
And you know, that's one of the cool things with the learn. I mean, it's all mobile friendly, but this learning platform, it's got a mobile app feature. It's going to cost quite a lot of money, which I don't have right now. But even so, like there's a couple different ways around it, which is for anything. So I mean, like you can go to the website, scroll your phone, and do that, and you probably wouldn't even know much difference, but. Having a mobile app, it's kind of a luxury, but like I would say probably people are going to be using more of a computer desktop. At least I did because I took my classes online for my degree. And
if you're headed towards like the institute, that's more likely, right?
Yeah, and I personally, I'm kind of old school. Like I've noticed the older I get, the older I am, if that makes any sense. Like the older my interests are. Like, I have a bunch of apps on my phone. Most of them are like tools related, something like that. But I don't like, the only social media I have is Facebook. I don't care to have Twitter. I don't care I have Instagram too, which you know, and I barely use. But like all those, what are they? I don't even, whatever all the other social apps are, I don't have. You know, if you want to talk to me, you can get a hold of me on Facebook Messenger, or here's my number. I'm not going to worry about those other things. I'm a guy that likes notebooks rather than, you know, typing up a note on my phone, which I do, and then I'll move it to a notebook or something later. But and then when I'm writing articles, I'd rather, you know, have a keyboard in front of me too. So I'm getting old.
Reminds me of, I've seen it in two different, it's like a meme that's going around where like young people now buy airplane tickets from their phone. And it's like, whoa, hold up. That's a computer purchase. Like, that's like the new way to see like what generation you are. You ask them, would you ever buy a $1,000 product, you know, or a couple hundred from your phone? If so, you're like, okay, you're a little too young for me. You're like, you're very young. But I even found like with my parents, like my mom would rather use her iPad. I'm like, Mom, you need a computer for that. Like, it's not working because this company did not correctly format their website to be on your iPad. So I feel like it kind of is hit or miss, but the big purchases, I'm like, yeah, I think like how we're talking now on a desktop, that is nice. Or at least a laptop, please. But from here, I think we can just end with some encouragement. So what, did you have anything else from last week? Remember last week was safety glasses, but I know you've thought long and hard about encouragement.
I was thinking about it today. I was like, you know, there's going to be a question that's popping up here. And it's like, I was like, okay, what kind of encouragement can we give? And I'll be completely honest with you, I have no idea. I really don't. The only thing I can really say is what I've been saying is just, you know, whatever individuals are doing, you know, keep on keeping on. You know, you check one box off, that's one less thing to worry about. I guess, whatever project, find something that you enjoy, find something that you have fun with. You're not doing it just to get rich. You're not doing it because everybody needs these things, or you're not being an influencer because, that's the way to go. Find something you enjoy. It doesn't matter how successful it is. It doesn't matter, if you're bringing in only, 0, 10, a couple 100,000, whatever it is. If you enjoy doing what you're doing, then keep on doing it, because that's really the best way to go. And don't worry about how successful it is. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I think for myself, and I think I may have mentioned this, but if something's not working with your business or even in life, continuing to do it is probably not the best option to do.
That is true.
So
yeah, if you're wanting to do it for business, and there's a bunch of different directions that you could go with a response to that, but if you're wanting it to be a business, you've got to find ways to make it succeed.
Like my email sign-up page, which I've mentioned many times, it was not working. So that was something that this week, actually, I put it live before we talked so I could say, it's live now. I was like, I need to do some things so I can say I've done something in the last week. Because I've been working on things, but it's not like, it's like that last, like, put it live. And I'm like, I don't know, do I want to? I'm like, why? Who cares? But that was something I've seen more and more of, like, okay, that wasn't working. That's okay. You can be a little sad, but at the end of the day, it's not working. What can I do better, or how can I change it? And so I think that's something a lot of people, when they're getting started, you come across a lot of things that are not going to work. Like, right. Oh, I'm not getting followers like I thought, or customers, or people aren't visiting my website, or this or that. And it's like, well, that's life. Some people will be super lucky and have it, but most of us, it doesn't happen. And so it's like a never-ending journey of like trying something and being like, okay, this was mildly successful, or maybe no, it flopped. Back to the drawing board. Yeah. What else can we do?
And one of the things that popped in my head, I think one of the pitfalls to that is people aren't like, when they see something new, they're looking at, okay, what kind of content do they have, or more specifically, how much? I think psychologically or in the background, they're thinking these things. And then also like in your social atmosphere. For example, I actually have the page up right now. The ministry page I have has currently 652 likes and then a little over 700 followers. That doesn't really seem like a lot. I mean, one more is awesome.
Sounds like a lot to me.
Yeah, but
you're at 70 followers.
Well, when other people look at this, they're going to see it's like, oh, he's only got a couple hundred. Maybe I shouldn't bother too much with this, or he's only got 10, 50, whatever the number is. So they're looking at that count and thinking, okay, because this person has a high number of whatever it is, I would say it's passively. I don't think it's actively being hunted down. But I think that's some subconscious thing of, is this credible or not? Okay, the number's low, so probably not. Rather than, you go back, we'll say 50 to be safe. You go back 50 years, you don't have social media. And you start a business and people say, okay, well, I see what you're doing. Awesome. Let me know how I can help. Okay, well, here's $25, $30 for your services. I hope it works out, and then keep on going from there. So I think social media, or social, what's the word I want? Social presence. I think that has something to do with a hindrance as well in some cases.
Yeah, which after this business, I'm like, I want to do an in-person. I was like, I want to rely on the community, the neighbors, which normally you don't want to. You're like, right. I would love to just be at home and have it online and digital. And I'm like, until you work in that, and then you see it's just as hard, maybe harder, because I can't even say like, come and visit me or come and buy a cup of coffee. I'm like, here's my business card. You need to follow me here, go here, sign up for this list. We will plug you in, watch this many hours of content, and then you will see I've got good stuff to offer you.
Don't forget to prick your finger of blood and sign too, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a crazy world out there. But I thought I would end it with, once upon a time, I was falling in love. Now I'm only falling apart. Is that the words? I've been thinking this all night.
Yes, it is.
I can do. Total Eclipse of the Heart. I started too low. Yeah. But I haven't listened to that song. But I know you had mentioned on one of your pages, the duration of the clips is just like a second less or more than
Yeah,
that song. The
it's
Totally Close to the Heart.
if I remember
So
correctly,
I've been thinking of that song quite a bit.
I think the song is
As we come to the world end.
4:27, 4 minutes 27 seconds, and the Eclipse. No, 4 minutes and 30. I'm scrolling my own personal page now because I want to find that. But yeah, basically the rule of thumb is when the Eclipse starts, start playing the song "Total Eclipse from the Heart." Which I'm trying to get a friend of mine. It's like, hey, do you and your wife have anything going on? Like, are they going over to families or something to doing this? Or are you guys just going to stay home? Because if you're going to stay home, then I've got some plans. I'm coming over. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm going to try to remember to play that because I think that would be awesome.
Man.
So.
No better way to end it. So
Right.
you guys should go and look up that song because it will be stuck in your head. But from here, go ahead, check out I call them show notes, but other YouTubers call them the description. So I'm like, oh, it's a podcast versus YouTube thing. But I like saying the notes, the show notes sounds cooler. But the description, whatever you want to call it, figure out how you can plug in with both Bill and myself. Start supporting us. Subscribe on both of our channels, podcast, YouTube, follow everything we're doing. And I did launch that new email sign up page. So you should just click the link to see the new stuff. But Bill, anything to close us out?
I don't have anything because I kept scrolling. I think I'm actually.
Like I post.
I'm back in February. Yeah, I'm scrolling back. I'm back in February right now, and I still don't see it. So I don't know what happened to it. Maybe I overlooked it or something, but I do remember sharing it. Unless the person that shared, because I think I just shared it.
You did say you're getting old, so
I could be senile. So.
No, it was there. I know it. Okay, but we'll call it a day. See you guys later.
Take care.